Arkaingelle, the rootsman from Guyana who is now based in California, released his studio album number 4 titled Watah Down on September 18, 2020. This modern-sounding album, done in collaboration with David Goldfine of Zion High Productions, stands firm in the roots reggae and Rastafarian traditions. This album is instantly a leading contender for Roots Reggae Album of the Year 2020, a year which has otherwise been dreadful for many. But it is precisely the conditions under which this album is released that makes the message of this worship and praise album so timely and needed. Arkaingelle joins me for an extended interview covering the songs, the words, the power of this phenomenal album. Stick around also for the review and Irie Roots Reggae score in the end.
EMITE, TIDE say tide, EDIT say edit.
Hello everyone, I'm Gideon St.Helen here with Irie Roots Reggae Reviews, where we take a deeper look into the nuts and bolts of Roots Reggae albums. Before we even get into the album, if you've listened to Arkaingelle's music or you've communicated with him, you will hear this word, majesty. What's behind this word?
You know, it just came naturally, I would say. It's just a word that encompasses everything. Glory, strength, you can say hi, you can say bye, say how you doing, you know. But it's a word to me that encompasses so much, in front of it, behind it, So it really is a powerful word for I, man.
I started listening to Arkaingelle's music earnestly in 2017 when I heard what I instantly thought was an exceptional Roots Reggae album, Through the Fire. This album, his first with Jadi of Zion High, is extremely well put together vocally and instrumentally. Check this album out. For reggae artists like Arkaingelle, as he will discuss a little later in the interview, they do not like talking about themselves. It's not really about them, it's all about the music and the message of the music. But knowing a little bit about the background of the man behind the music helps us give context to the message. Arkaingelle is originally from Guyana, an English-speaking country in the northern part of South America. Guyana is bordered by Venezuela in the west, Suriname in the east, and Brazil in the south and southwest. Although Guyana is not geographically in the Caribbean, Guyana is considered to be part of the Caribbean region because of historical, cultural, and socio-political ties with the other Caribbean countries. Like many other countries in the Caribbean region that are not called Jamaica or the USVI, where roots reggae is dominant, Guyana is not known for their strong reggae scene. In fact, many of the countries in the Caribbean do not have a recognizable big name in reggae. If they do, you could count them on one hand. For example, in St. Lucia, my home country, Taj Wicks is a big name in reggae music, and I think that's about it. These countries have a really strong calypso and soca music scene, much stronger than the roots reggae scene. So how did Arkaingelle get into reggae music?
I would say as a youth, I was drawn to it from early, It was a Rastaman, particularly this one Rastaman that lived opposite from where I grew up, from my grandmother's house and my grandparents' house. And he kind of take me under his wing a little bit, he would invite me, he would cook some ital for me. I can't remember really any particular teachings of the Emperor of Haile Selassie from him, but just the energy, his vibe, his willingness to share everything that he had, and just his kind heart, just really attracted me to that livity. And then on top of that, in the village, we play our music loud. So I remember coming home from school at a certain point in time. Every afternoon I come in, it would be Bob Marley coming in from the cold from this particular house. It was kind of a little far off from where I live, but maybe another block over. But you could hear it clear as I walk down the street to my home. You can hear it clear, And I end up asking them to borrow the album, but they wouldn't lend me that one particularly. They gave me Uriah. But that was my first real introduction to roots, reggae music, listening to that Bob Marley. And of course, again, the island, there's a lot of calypso, a lot of island music, a lot of, roots and Kwekwe and them thing there. Within all of that, there was an affinity for the music that was coming out of Jamaica. really and truly. In the dance, when you go to dance, even as youth, it's Jamaican music playing steady, you know what I mean? Yellow Man. So we grew up on these things, you know? And naturally, as we sight far right, you know, it just come naturally to I same way, even as a musical youth, because music has been in my family and has been passed down through instruments even, you know what I mean? So the music has been with my grandfather. He taught me how to play, or at least started to teach me how to play the piano and the guitar, you know. So I had my first lessons from my grandfather on those instruments. And then I furthered those teachings in the States, those lessons in the States, you know. The music has been there, and the roots music particularly. Yeah, man, it was just a natural draw, you know. Yeah, from those experiences, you know.
Arkaingelle just mentioned getting a start learning to play the piano and the guitar from his grandfather. So I followed up with a question about whether he still plays any instruments.
I love the instruments, man. I was, like I said, I had my first lessons from my grandfather. And then I come to the States where I didn't really continue those lessons. But I went into brass. I played the trumpet, and I played the sousaphone, the tuba. And then after I couldn't play those anymore, I went back to the piano, the keyboard, and the guitar and started teaching myself, you know? Yeah. Where I get some chords and, you know? But yeah, man, I definitely am an instrumentalist and really appreciate the discipline, you know, it takes to really carry through and really learn an instrument, you know? Anyone, whether you're self-taught or, you know, been institutionally taught or, you know? Yeah, man, is a crucial element.
When I first started listening to Arkaingele's music in 2017, his voice and vocal style were new to me. I was captivated by the rawness of it. It was fresh. It was not following the pattern of one of the more recognizable vocal schools like a Sizzla, a Buju, a Dennis Brown, a Bob Marley, a Peter Tosh, etc. Many new artists would tend to emulate these voices. Arkaingelle talked to me about his main vocal influences.
Well, as I mentioned, you know, first, I would have to say Bob Marley, you know, from youth, from even them time there when I heard they beating out the speakers there from my neighbor. And as I grow, you know, it just kind of spread. Yellow Man, you know what I mean? Tiger, all the man that we used to listen as youth, you know what I mean? But the roots, I really started listening later down as I started coming into I myself. Bob Marley, I started remembering Bob Marley and started playing and listening to words. And then I was introduced to Burning Spear. And interestingly enough, my own mother, she introduced me to culture. So those three artists there, I would say, you know, and as I forward into Rastafarian, into livity, and I choose self, them three artists, they guided I musically. I try to emulate Burning Spear more, so I feel that energy with Burning Spear, you know? Israel Vibration, you know? Yeah, man, those are some of my early influences, really and truly. And I was blessed, really, to do some work with Luton Fire, I must say. Yeah, man. And when Luton Fire hit the scene, like I said, it was this early back in the late 90s, you know what I mean, early 2000. I was blessed to go on road with Luton, and it was really inspirational, man. His vocal style really caught eye, really catch me, and it really helped to develop my own style. And then, of course, I cannot leave out my brethren, Van Benjamin.
Arkaingelle just mentioned Burning Spear as an influence, and it now clicked for me. Burning Spear's vocal style is built around call and response, lots of repetition, and lots of space in his chanting. You can see similar spacing in Arkaingele's vocal phrasing, and heavy use of repetition also. Check out track number 10, August Majesty, and track number 12, Thrones of Judgment, to illustrate what I'm talking about here. He also mentioned the great Von Benjamin, and we'll get back to a discussion of Von later on in this interview. Arkaingele's previous full albums, Open in 2008, Through the Fire 2017, and Behold in 2018, are all solid roots reggae albums. As a big fan of Zion I Kings, it's no accident that my favorite of the three is Through the Fire. Despite differences in production of these albums, it feels like there is this common thread that binds these albums together. There is a continuity across the albums. That's true even if his debut and sophomore albums are separated by almost 10 years. We wanted to know what binds these albums together. In this response, you'll hear some Rasta terms like icept, which I believe means concept, and word like Irie Roots.
It's the joy mercy, the grace of the Most High, you know, when I King, God and King. And the I step from open, if the eyesight, outside or through the fire. Open and behold. That's the I step, you know. We're really addressing His Majesty for once to open up the iris, the eyes, the hearts, you know what I mean? The hands, even in humility and thanksgiving, you know. And behold, yeah, the crowning, the glory, you know, the majesty of our King Kadamawi Haile I Selassie, you know. So through the fire, it's been in the works from since I come together and connect with Zion Kings, you know what I mean? And the time in between open and behold was just right. As the I say, was a little time that I had needed to catch myself and deal with some family vibes and things, you know, really and truly. But the theme is just, you know, the glory and eyes to His Majesty, really and truly, you know. And through the fire, now Watah Down. It's earth elements we're dealing with. It's all earth elements. This is the livity that Rastafarian show now, you know. So within the next coming projects there, through the fire, now Watah Down. Yeah, man. It's earth elements again. And behold, His Majesty. Yeah, man. We ride upon the wings of His horse, you know, on the white horse. That humble team, that team of giving yanks, of humbling thyself to nature, of humbling thyself to His Majesty, you know what I mean? Of praises, and not just praise of oneself, you know? Praises to the King, you know what I mean? Because the music out there, we know is so much music out there, man. And the themes are so varied. But I would say what prevails is the derogatory music, or I would say derogatory music where we're debasing one another, we're debasing our women, you know what I mean? Where we just glorifying materials and glorifying ourselves, you know? That's not what I is about. And when we say no Watah Down, it's just, you know what I mean? Yeah, we just keeping it, again, straight roots on His Majesty, focused on His Majesty, on the iris of pure livity, you know what I mean? Yeah, one heart.
Arkaingelle also talked about why he forwards with roots reggae music and doesn't knock other forms of music.
I love all music, really and truly. Again, you know what I mean, dancehall, soul, you know what I mean, jazz. I listen to all music coming from classical, you know what I mean, as well. So I really appreciate you know, music. But for I personally, within I'm on livity and what I see within this world, you know what I mean, more people can have a meditation where it's not so distorted, it's not so ramshackle with all of this materialistic, you know what I mean, confusion, with all this, you know what I mean, materialistic glorification, with all this debasement, you know what I mean, violence, you know, within the music itself. So for me personally, again, that's my part, you know, to each and every one, really and truly, to my brethren, to my sister, and if I could help anyhow, one ample, you know what I mean, come into a humble meditation, yeah, man, come into a joyful livity within His Majesty, you know? Yeah, so that's the Irie fire, right? You know, just love, man. We have to learn to love and respect one another.
As I mentioned before, Through the Fire was produced in collaboration with Jah David of Zion High Productions. Arkaingelle has teamed up again with him on Now Watah Down. We'll get to the song of the album in a while, but we were curious about how this collaboration came about.
Jadi is my personal good brethren, hygiene, you have to say, you know. And I been knowing each other now over 20 years before even Zion was, you know, established. So when I linked up, you know, the music was fresh, was raw. And I was recording on a Tascam 4-track, making some roots music, you know, maybe just building up some vibes and just creating a vibes, you know. And again, through things and times, man, we had to separate. And we've always talked about working, you know. Again, Zion came into production and, you know what I mean, work just kept going within hoping, you know what I mean? And again, I was dealing with a lot of personal issues at the time from 2010, you know? When the time was right, yeah, the time was right when Through the Fire came in. So 2017, you know, we said, yeah, man, it's time. And I made it out to Florida and we linked up. Yes, but it was a work that we've been reasoning of and contemplating for quite some time, like I said, about at least 10, 15 years, you know?
One of the reasons I love the collaboration between Arkaingelle and the guys at Zion Kings is that the productions or the songs are a really good fit for Arkaingelle's vocal style. As we mentioned, Arkaingelle makes use of repetition and space in his vocals. This is well suited for the type of modern dub-based roots reggae that Zion Kings has mastered. The use of echoes, delays, well-placed reverb, keyboard licks and horns allow for the spacing in his vocal phrasing. We see that throughout the album on tracks like Dagger, Inner Life, Light the Touch, and That I Am. Let's take a listen to track number 13, Substance, to see all of these elements come together really nicely.
Yes, may I go on. Enough of it send me crazy, enough of it send me I go mad. Enough of it show them on because them draw back, yeah. I need the last the power of Trinity, my law. Me not what they mean, I see na God. Look to Ethiopia, Rastafari, Vanya. Me na skin teeth, me na white face, or change skin like leopard. Substance of things so far, the evidence yet seen. We gotta try on, no matter what the heathen say. Substance of things so far, the evidence yet seen. We gotta hold on. Reality is never what it seems. The covenant is always with.
Arkaingelle talked a little bit more about the synergy between his vocal style and Zion King's productions.
When, I was just youthful, and just zealous in the music. We spent a good amount of time, it's about, again, 15, 20 years ago, spent a good amount of time really just vibes in musically, I was playing keyboards, recording on my 4-track, Brethren Jadi was on his bass. Oil's Outlaw, Ja Oil. I don't know if you know Ja Oil, he plays guitar with the Wailing Souls, wicked guitarist, man. Has also done some recordings on many different albums, Yeah, man, there's a few of the brethren that we really vibes with in them time. So the energy and the style was, again, was just there. So as Jadi started, making music, and as I linked up, it was his knowledge of I, that made that happen, of how I vibe musically that made that happen. And again, through the Irie Roots of Rastafari, Brethren Jadi, hold the faith strong, Yeah, so it's a give thanks, yeah, man. So within this motion there, then we link, the music. Unfortunately, I wasn't there in the production of the music. Yet and still, particularly even on those tracks that I mentioned, when I was recording, Jadi would hear something and say, no, I need to change this bass line this way, or, and go back. And that happened a few times while I was there. We weren't able to get, let's say, the drums, exactly, but it was already set. So all he had to do was maybe move one note or, one half step or something and just set it right, So that energy was still there within the production and the recording. And of course, man like Drew Keys, Moon, yes, I Lost the Kings, and I can't forget High Grade, Tippy, big up yourself, Yeah, man. So all these brethren added, even after the vocal was laid, added to that roundness of the music, the horns, the keys, the guitar, the pick. Yeah, man, they really added to it and brought it forward to how I see and know. So I say give thanks, But it's that relation again that I and Jadi have had, again, over 15, 20 years that really bring forward the synergy, I would say, within the music, even having pre-produced productions, rhythms and so on, and still making able to work and redo again and, bring it forward. So, yeah, man, I give thanks again. Sinai Productions, Drew Keys, Ancient Digital, Lost the Kings, High Grade, A Street, aforementioned Green Sphere, Rastafari, give thanks,
As Arkaingelle mentioned, the rhythms for the albums were already pre-produced, and this is usually the case with artists who work with Zion Kings. These guys have a cache of rhythms going back years that they can draw from for albums. So how did Arkaingelle find the inspiration to write lyrics to these existing rhythms? As Marcus God told us in a discussion of his album with Zion Kings, also Rhythm of Serenity, check this album out, It is a bit of a different experience compared to writing songs and then coming up with the instrumentation.
Yeah, man, it's far right working. You know, I can't say anything really is a vibe, really and truly. It's just far right working. Yeah, man, and then the words, music just come in, you know, through the grace. So it's a vibes. It's a vibes.
Now let's move on to the message of the album. The album's title is Now Watah Down, which signals an uncompromising position that Arkaingelle is holding. This is also made clear in the title track.
When I'm yarding home to Zion, now I hail His majesty. Better know when me walk a town, say me walk a ground, me na water down. When me talk, me na hold me tongue. Through a righteousness, say we humble down. Never tumble down. Through it back against the wall, say we hold we ground. Rastafari wear the crown, and the wicked them a wear a frown.
Arkaingelle talked with us about the main message or the theme of the album.
Just be firm, be strong in their works, in their knowledge, really and truly, because this thing is about no belief, you know. Enough people believe and go this way and that way. So we say hold firm, and it can apply across so many various entities or contexts. But musically, for I again, yeah, we just stand firm to the faith, to the livity of Rastafari. That's for I, now Watah Down, you know. The message of Rastafari is firm. The livity, yeah man, do good. Love your neighbor. You do unto your neighbors, you would have him do unto yourself. These things are so crucial just for everyday livity. Just them two things, they praise the Most High. Do unto your neighbors you would, and do what have him do unto you. Them two things they alone. Respect is due, far right. So, yeah, man, that's the whole Iris. Now Watah Down, your livity, your stance, you know what I mean? And people can take it to so many different levels, you know? In terms of, well, roots reggae music gotta be roots. You can't have this, you can't be doing rock and roll in roots. You know what I mean? You can't have a rock. It's so many different levels. But as long as your team, who you know yourself to be, but I man is Rastafari. You can't go above, you can't go around. Rastafari stand firm. You sit up on the throne. Yeah, so you can't go around that. You know, so I know Watah Down this thing, the message of love, you know what I mean? For humanity, for one another. Yeah, man. Stand firm within them Irish there, within the livity, you know?
We then discussed the meaning of 4 songs of this full-length album of 10 vocal tracks, 1 dub and 3 shorter tracks. They include 1 intro and 2 interludes. The first one we talked about is track number 3, Inner Life. This is a beautiful melodic track with an uplifting message. He encourages the listener that despite the current difficulties, there is sunshine on the horizon.
The sufferation in a life, the world feel cold, bills on the floor. Little daughter in a misery, trying to figure life mystery. With the balance in a life, mama say, you only live once, so make haste. Do what you gotta do, but there it is, sunshine on the horizon. When the mood is right, and the music tight, and the people all a joy, sunshine.
Yeah, man, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. You know, we have to check ourselves. Every day we rise up, we have to check ourselves, and even our attitude, you know what I mean, our outlook. Because how you wake up can shape your whole livity. Could be all grey outside, and you just wake up with a dark attitude, and your whole day turn out dark. You know, we have to check ourselves every day, man. Check our status, our mentality, how we're dealing with ourselves, how we're dealing with one another. And we know, say, from we have faith, from we have love, from we have truth and rights, you know what I mean? Yeah, man. Them things I must carry me through, and I must fulfill, really and truly, all I like potential. When we say sunshine, yeah, man, it is enough sunshine. There's enough sunshine. And even in the great time, there's enough sunshine, you know? Love, man. Love can make a whole great day turn just, you know? Yeah, joy. and you're out there vibes in with your brethren and your sister and just having a joyful time and rain coming down. Ain't nobody caring about rain. You know what I mean? So how we check ourselves, how we move, you know? Yeah, it's a serious thing, man, because our attitude, you know, is a serious thing how we carry through the day. So we say, yeah, man, just give thanks for the sunshine, you know, for even everything that's going on right now. You know what I mean? We have to talk about this COVID thing. We have to talk about all these masks and all these other things that's going on, you know what I mean? Our attitude alone could determine how we make it through, you know, how we make it through in this time. And I'm not supporting or condoning anything either way, but I'm just saying how we deal with people, man, is a serious thing once again. It's all written before I even came onto this existence. He said, praise the Most High, do unto the next man as you would have him do. And them two, that alone, you know what I mean, is reality. So we don't take them things there for joke, man. Rastafari livity is a serious thing, you know? Truths and rights. Truths and rights. So, yeah, man, there's a better day ahead. As long as I and I live upright, as long as I and I hold a joy within myself, you know what I mean? As long as we do right by one another, as long as we hold that love, you know what I mean? That empathy, that compassion. Yeah, we must be a bright today, must be a sunshine. You know, so it's a faith, it's a substance. If you know substance within the music, substance. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things yet seen. That is the substance I reasoning out within the music, you know what I mean? Faith. Yeah, so we have to hold these Irish within I, you know, and far right show I these things. Yeah, so we give thanks once again. Yeah, man, the sunshine on the horizon far right, really and truly, you know, in a life.
In the hands of the Lord, and the heavens declare His righteousness. Heavens declare it. I hold His statutes, His commandments. Dagger, conquering and to conquer. To conquer, to conquer. And the lamb to the slaughter. The slaughter, the slaughter. Was the only one found worthy, Dagger, Dagger, God, His majesty.
The second song we talked about is track number 4, Dagger, a song I really, really like. This song is rooted in scripture. Our question was, what does the word dagger mean, and what is the main message of the song?
And I is a herbalist from, you know, yeah, on all levels, not just cannabis, but herbalist medicinally, you know what I mean? Yeah, traditionally. And dagger is the term used for cannabis in certain parts of Africa. But when I really check the word, again, I have to bring up my brethren, Van. God, him opened my eyes to this reality, the inverse meaning of a word, you know? So when I check the word dagger and I show it around and flip it around, it show me, say, a God. You catch me? A God. So it's as simple as that. Dagger, a God. And, you know, for many, the herb opens up the third eye, you know, to that mystic irit of the Most High. So once again, it's one and the same, you know what I mean? Dagger is the whole of herb. It's God, a God coming from the whole of hills, you know what I mean? With outstretched arms, you know? Yeah, the Most High coming down to greet I, you know what I mean? Yeah, man, him bring forth the creed, him plant the seed, and I say, give thanks for word song again, because a God, Rastafarian, know, and that just shows, you know what I mean? His majesty. There's certain things, again, in verse, we have to really look at words, particularly within this English. You know what I mean? And we know, say, even the English words have been borrowed and taken from even different other languages and cultures, you know? So when we really dissect certain words, again, as my brethren show me, man, you know, we have to really, yeah, get to the root, get to the meaning. So, yeah, man, this is the Irie, you know? It's the Most High, and I deal with it continually. Yes, sir.
We then talked about track number 5, Light the Touch. On this track, Arkaingelle collaborated with Pressure Buspire from the VI and Kabaka Pyramid from Jamaica. It's a really impressive song. Now, what's the motivation for the song and why the collaboration with these two artists?
When the Rasta man them come together like the torch and the wicked catch a fire. Tell you what I want. When they get to you, them try fi better and the system try fi turn them in a shatter. Tell you what I want. One Babylon highly Selassie rain down lightning.
Yeah, Light the Torch is really just about igniting, you know what I mean, the flame within the meditation of I, just awakening certain consciousness within this time, not just this time, but all time really and truly, man, because we see the people them are awakening, you know? People them are getting wise to certain things of the world right now, are questioning, you know what I mean, certain things that are, so we just lighting the torch when I and my brethren and sister come together. We question, we say, hey, why is this way and why is, you know? It was interesting because I and I had the Irie bringing different brethren on the track. And as I see, you know, Kabaka and Pressure, them man there is within the family, within the Zion King's family even, you know what I mean? So it's a family thing. It was true, even the Irie of King David, you know, eventually, man, we should bring in this brethren. And we couldn't get to this particular brethren, you know, so we say, all right, well, then we make a heights up and, you know what I mean? Yeah, we link up Kabaka and Pressure. And the man was so open and so humble within the meditation, you know what I mean? I was so receptive. They say, what? Yeah, man, that's the Irish. When they heard the music, like, yes, I. And like I say, it's just, you know, to light that, to ignite that flame within mankind right now, you know what I mean? Open up the meditation and say, yo, what's going on, man? We really have to get ourselves together. We have to get this thing right, you know? Yeah, so the brethren them, I say give thanks. Pressure Bus Pipe, Baka, you know what I mean? Devil Rock, wherever they. Big up yourself every time, you know what I mean? Yeah, man, give thanks once again.
The final song we discussed was track number 9, That I Am. Arkaingelle talked a little bit more about the message of this song.
I am more, no less than I am. Original Adman, Cadman. I am that I am. I am that I am. Know thyself, know thy word. Now, kings of the earth. I am that I am. From the beginning of creation. I am that I am. I am that I am. It's a new day, new age, new dawning. So rise up, my people, arise. Rise up, my people. From our ancient mystery, from our ancient history. Hey, long overdue.
Well, yeah, again, just stay true to myself, man, because we all come from one root, Africa. Yet we know, so we branch out all over the earth. But I, man, I am that I am. Rastafari, standing firm, you know what I mean? Yeah, Adman Cadman from creation. just be who you are, Rasta. You know what I mean? No matter if you have dreadlocks, if you have bald head, or, you know what I mean, you're Indian, you're black, you're Chinese, whatever it is. Just be who you is. You know what I mean? Nobody can tell you is not you. I am that I am, far I know. So, yeah, we give thanks, you know, through the grace. And so, through that respect again, through them Iris as I show you again. Just praise him. Karamawi Haile Selassie the first. Do on to the next man. Whether it be Chinese, black, white, whatever. As you would have that man do on to you. Whether you're Rasta, Hindu, whatever it you be. I am that I am, you know? And them is the Iris fire. We have to really step up this human iretical frequency. Because right now we're vibrating down here, so. And we need to vibrate at a higher frequency. Really and truly for come true, you know what I mean? So everyone, whoever we be, whoever we are, you know? Yeah, man, just know that. And just, yeah, man, attain on to the highest potential for it because we're not alone. It's not you alone because you are this way or you feel this way. No, man, we're not alone. There's so many of us feeling and thinking and coming into that synchronicity. This time, we see it more and more. You know what I mean? With everything that's going on in the world, we see it more and more. So it's just natural, you know what I mean? Don't, you know, afraid no man or knock a next man because he is Hindu or he is, you know what I mean, Christian or this or that. I am that I am, right? So we just give thanks, you know, and I stand firm within Rastafari, right? So just give thanks, glory and strength, honor and majesty. Be unto all and I that exalt and glorify Karamawi Haile Selassie the first. We say give thanks, Gideon, really and truly, you know? Yeah, man, a joy.
This question is always a difficult choice for artists, but I ask nonetheless. What's his favorite song of the 10 vocal tracks?
Like, I got 2 different phases, Yeah, like this week or for a couple of weeks, it'll be this one. And then I move on, I'll be, John, this one you have a vibes too, and it'll be that one for the next week. And, it moved like that. But for right now, it's Dagger. Yeah, for right now, it's Dagger. I mean, all of them fire. Watah Down, Inner Life, I really love that. That, I don't know if you check, but Inner Life was actually a collaborative writing with a good brethren, Ice Straight. Yeah, man, Trevor Andrews, big up yourself, Ice Straight every day. Crucial, Rastaman, a heretical Rastaman. What I hold counsel with very often. So, yeah, man, Inner Life is a crucial track, So, it is enough music, even outside of these albums, still is enough music, man. But for now, we just Dagger, God,
Finally, unrelated to Now Watah Down, Arkaingelle collaborated with Von Benjamin on Beloved, track number 8 of the album Through the Fire. Arkaingelle mentioned earlier that Von Benjamin, who passed in November 2019, was also an influence on his music. I take the opportunity to ask all artists who work with or knew Von Benjamin personally about his influence on their lives and on their music. I really appreciate Arkaingelle's thoughts here.
I must say, even before I met with Von in the flesh, physically, influence, impact on my music there, really. Is particularly on my writing, At that time, I was really not even looking, but hoping even that a roots band such as Midnight would come into play for I, because I hadn't seen something like that in so long. And I was in New York and came forward to California, and as a brethren was telling me about Midnight. He was playing Geoman. I was staying with him and he was playing Geoman. Every day we wake up is Geoman hidden, you know what I mean? And one of the things, again, that inspired I, man, was the writing, because I found that the way I, man, put down my words, personally, I thought it was similar. And that kind of gave me the okay, because, again, as as musicians, as artists, we always, really checking ourselves, really hard, even in comparison to the industry. And for I, personally, at one time, I didn't feel like, I was writing music, how music was supposed to be written. Until again, this brethren came forward, like, okay, yeah, man, I see. And it really gave me the inspiration to go forward, really and truly, among other things. And it really make me know, say, well, the music, even this life, this work, is not of I and I. We gotta tell you this. It was sometime in, 94, 95, where I went to visit a brethren up in the hills up in Shasta, California. And I found this spot. I said, yo, take a picture. And I take a picture and I frame and I say, yo, this picture is gonna be the picture on my first album, And I held that picture there for years, I'm gonna tell you, for years. And, as I know, the album didn't come out until 2008, but through that revelation once again, man, when I was introduced to Midnight, to Von, and I said that none of the albums had a personal eye trait. And again, that was the inspiration, because even before he explained it physically, I saw the vision. I was like, yes, it's not really for I and I, you know what I mean? This music is not for I and I glorification, really and truly. So I changed up the media on that one time, and as a brethren helped me to design and come up with the artwork, even for the first album, Open, So again, it's just enough Irish within Rastafari. As you know, the brethren is very learned, very well spoken and outspoken. So it was enough edification as well as inspiration that I garnered from the brethren even before I linked with him in the flesh, So yeah, man, I give thanks again for the life, for the Irish, for the works. Yeah, because it's enough works, enough Irish that brethren hold it. You know, Akio Becca. Yeah, man, enough works, enough Irish. So, and I really and truly give thanks. A little taste, really and truly, because again, it's beyond words even, you know what I mean? Really and truly, the vibes that this brethren emanate, and when you sat and listen to the reasoning, you know what I mean? It's enough vibes and Irish, man, that you really have to go back and check again, go forward and check again, and really get the full understanding, you know? So, again, it was a blessing to be in the aggregation, you know, to be even within the works with the brethren, really and truly. And again, this is true King David. I say King David, Jadi, King David, you know? Yeah, because the Zionite family, you know what I mean? The Zionite works. I had linked Vaughn on the West Coast because he traveled out on the West Coast of California for quite a bit of performances. So we are linked out on the West Coast physically. So when he started working with Zionite, with Zionite Kings, when they were doing more work, and the reasoning came around, you know. Yeah, man, it was fitting. Because again, we had already known each other. It was a blessing just to have the brethren, you know what I mean? Yeah, contribute that work there really and truly. So yeah, man, it was an Irie, really Irie, you know. Yeah, sorry.
Now to the Irie Roots Reggae score. And I'm sure you could predict my score by now. I would not waste time interviewing an artist about an album that I didn't find impressive to begin with. The first criterion, originality, authenticity. This is a no-brainer. The brother is authentic and has his own vocal style. This is not boilerplate reggae either, so I gave a 10 out of 10 here. For lyricism, the central themes of Arkaingelle songs across his 4 studio albums can be summed up as praise and worship to the Most High and attaining righteous livity, including songs on the benefits of cannabis to this livity. His lyrics are generally straightforward without heavy use of subliminal language, hidden meanings, and tons of historical and geographical facts. While I appreciate the complexity of lyrics from artists like Von Benjamin and one of my favorite artists, Fiki Yamlak, as well as some of Janine's songs, I also love the straightforward approach to writing by Arkaingelle on this album. I say this is a praise and worship album because the best praise and worship songs are those that could be easily memorized and repeated. I was able to sing along Dagger, for example, after a couple of listens. I appreciate the beautiful poetry of the album and the flow of the meditative lyrics with lots of biblical references. The lyrics point you to the Most High, to stand firm in your faith, and also encourages you to look beyond your current circumstances, that better days are ahead. In one song he said, sunshine is on the horizon. For lyricism, I give the album 10 out of 10. The third criterion is production and instrumentation. When it comes to production and instrumentation, you know my thoughts about anything coming out of the Zionite Kings camp. You will find nothing but exceptional recording and post-production work. I have a full video on YouTube describing why the Zionite Kings song stands out to me. Check it out, I'll have a link in the description. All songs on the album were produced by Zionite Kings, with Zion High Productions under Jadi as the executive producer. The players of instruments who contributed to this work are of the highest caliber. From Jadi on bass, contributions from keyboard master Robbie Lynn on a couple of tracks, Drew Keys, TPI on keyboard, contributions on guitar from TPI also, Moon also contributed on guitar, drums from longtime Zionite Kings drummer Lloyd Jr. Richards, Aston Famlyman Barrett Jr. with the Wailers Connections also on drums, and Rankin Jed, who tours with Jadi in Janine's Dub Treatment Band, contributing to drums on 5 songs also. I gave a 10 out of 10 here for production and instrumentation. For coherence of the album, the message across the album is the same. Now Watah Down, do not compromise, keep the faith. Stand firm in your faith. The sound is also consistent across the album, so 10 out of 10. For accessibility advanced reggae music, as I mentioned before, the lyrics are straightforward, uplifting and poetic. This makes the songs and message highly accessible to the masses. 10 out of 10 here also. Overall, the Irie Roots Reggae score is 10 out of 10, an excellent reggae album. This Roots Reggae album by Arkaingelle and Zion High Productions is a beautiful work of art, from masterful instrumentation and production to the unapologetic words of praise and worship to the Creator and a call to live an upright life. Give thanks to Arkaingelle for taking the time to speak with us and for his detailed responses. Until the next time, as we always say, live life Irie and listen to Roots. Blessings.
We know in a slackness, this a Rasta business. Ooh, run, come give me the roots and culture. Bone vampire entire. Never let a politician grant you a favor. Work for your pay, make them pay for your labor. Check for your brethren and your sister and your neighbor. Time more precious and treacherous, yeah. Them never know Selassie, King of Kings. Them never know the King of Kings, rule of things. Me see vanity in a the imagine. Worshipping idols and sin. Ooh, God so with your badness. We know you're not slackness. This a Rasta business. Ooh, run, come give me the roots and culture. Chase them vulture.